Rejection is an inevitable part of life that we all encounter at some point, whether in our personal relationships, professional endeavors, or other aspects of our journey. It's an experience that can be challenging, emotionally painful, and sometimes even devastating. However, what truly determines the long-term impact of rejection is how we respond to it. While some people bounce back quickly, others may find themselves stuck in a cycle of negative thinking and self-doubt, which can hinder their growth. The truth is, rejection doesn't define us. It's not a reflection of our abilities, worth, or potential. Instead, rejection is a feedback mechanism, signaling that a certain situation, opportunity, or relationship might not be the right fit at this moment. Yet the aftermath of rejection can lead us to make a series of common mistakes that only exacerbate the pain and prevent us from moving forward. These mistakes are often driven by fear, self-doubt, and emotional distress, which cloud our judgment and make it harder to embrace new possibilities. One of the first and most damaging mistakes we make after rejection is dwelling on the experience, replaying it over and over in our minds. This ruminating can prevent us from gaining perspective and moving on. Another common mistake is taking rejection personally, which can deeply affect our self-esteem and sense of worth. Instead of seeing it as a temporary setback, we internalize it and allow it to affect our identity. Additionally, many people make the mistake of avoiding new opportunities after being rejected, fearing that further disappointment will follow. This fear of failure leads them to stay in their comfort zones, missing out on growth and success in the process. Seeking validation from others is another way rejection can derail us. After a setback, it's natural to look for reassurance from friends or family, but over-relying on external validation can create an unhealthy dependency. It prevents us from building the inner confidence necessary to move forward on our own terms. On the other hand, some individuals rush into new relationships or projects immediately after rejection as a way to distract themselves from the pain. While this may provide temporary relief, it often leads to decisions that are driven by emotional impulse rather than clear thinking. The good news is that these mistakes can be avoided. By recognizing them, we can take the necessary steps to heal and grow from rejection rather than letting it define us. In this article, we'll explore 7 common mistakes people make after rejection and offer strategies to overcome them, ensuring that rejection becomes a stepping stone for greater personal development and resilience. 1. Dwelling on the rejection. Rejection can feel like a punch to the gut, and it's completely natural to want to replay the moment over and over in your mind. You might find yourself asking, "Why did this happen to me?" Or, "What could I have done differently?" Maybe you even obsess over the smallest details, analyzing everything from your body language to the words you used. While it's normal to reflect on rejection, it becomes problematic when you get stuck in a cycle of dwelling on it. That's when the negative thoughts start to pile up, and instead of moving forward, you find yourself paralyzed by the what-ifs. This constant replaying of rejection isn't just emotionally draining, it's also counterproductive. When you dwell on a rejection, you often start to attach more meaning to it than it actually deserves. Instead of seeing it as a single event or opportunity that simply didn't work out, you begin to internalize it, letting it become part of your identity. You may start thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." The more you replay these thoughts, the more they embed themselves in your mind, creating a deep sense of self-doubt. And that's exactly where the danger lies. The longer you dwell on rejection, the harder it becomes to break free from its grip. It's important to recognize that every rejection is just a chapter in your story, not the entire plot. Rejection doesn't have the power to define you unless you allow it to. So, how do you stop dwelling on it and move forward. The first step is to shift your mindset. Instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" Every rejection offers a valuable lesson, even if it doesn't feel that way at first. It might teach you to communicate more effectively, to be more confident, or to refine your approach. Instead of focusing on the pain of rejection, try to focus on how you can use it to grow. Another key to moving on from rejection is embracing the idea of imperfection. No one is immune to rejection. Every successful person has faced it at some point. The key is to stop letting it define your future. Just because you faced rejection doesn't mean it's the end of the road. In fact, some of the most successful people in history have experienced rejection more times than they can count. Walt Disney, for example, was once told that he lacked imagination. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but both of them went on to achieve greatness because they didn't dwell on their rejections. They used them as motivation to push forward. It's also essential to give yourself permission to feel hurt, but not to let it dominate your thoughts. It's okay to feel disappointed and even angry, but the key is not to let those emotions take over and hold you hostage. Give yourself a set amount of time to process those feelings, whether it's an hour or a day, and then let it go. Moving forward is about taking action, not remaining stuck in your feelings. Remember, rejection doesn't dictate your future unless you let it. A great way to break the cycle of dwelling is by distracting yourself with activities that boost your mood and take your mind off the rejection. Engage in something creative, exercise, or spend time with people who lift you up. Surround yourself with positivity, and soon you'll notice that the rejection feels less consuming. You'll start to realize that life has more to offer, and the next opportunity is just around the corner. So, if you're struggling with dwelling on rejection, remember this. Don't let the rejection steal your joy, your confidence, or your future. Learn from it, grow from it, and then move on. Every day is a new chance to turn things around, and every rejection is simply a stepping stone towards your success. Question for the viewers. Have you ever caught yourself dwelling on a rejection for too long? How did you finally manage to move on? And what did you learn from that experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else to push forward too. 2. Taking it personally. One of the most common mistakes we make after rejection is taking it personally. It's so easy to slip into the mindset that rejection reflects something inherently wrong with us, our abilities, our personality, or even our worth as a person. When we're rejected, especially by someone or something we truly care about, it's almost impossible not to feel hurt. But the key to bouncing back from rejection lies in how we interpret it. Rejection doesn't define us, and it certainly doesn't dictate our value or potential. When you take rejection personally, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-blame. You might think, "I wasn't good enough," or "I did something wrong." It's like a voice in your head starts telling you that you're just not enough, whether it's not smart enough, talented enough, or deserving enough. These thoughts are incredibly damaging because they convince us that we are inherently flawed and not worthy of success or happiness. The truth, however, is that rejection is rarely about you as an individual. It's often about circumstances, timing, or the specific needs of a situation that just didn't align with what you had to offer at that moment. Let's be honest. Rejection doesn't always reflect the quality of what you bring to the table. In fact, there could be a variety of reasons why someone rejects you, none of which have anything to do with your worth as a person. Maybe you didn't meet a specific set of expectations, or perhaps the timing just wasn't right. Rejection in the professional world could be about the company's budget constraints or the selection process being subjective, while in personal relationships, it could be that the other person is dealing with their own challenges and isn't able to commit, regardless of how amazing you are. When we take rejection personally, we miss the opportunity to see the bigger picture. The truth that rejection is more about external factors than about who we are as people. One powerful way to stop taking rejection personally is to reframe how you view it. Instead of thinking, "I wasn't good enough," shift your mindset to, "That wasn't the right fit for me." This simple change can significantly affect how you process rejection. It allows you to detach your personal worth from the outcome, making it easier to accept and move forward. Rejection is simply an event or a decision made by someone else. It doesn't say anything about your value. Another helpful perspective is to remind yourself that rejection is a part of life that everyone experiences. Even the most successful people have faced rejection countless times before achieving their goals. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. These individuals didn't allow rejection to dictate their sense of self-worth. Instead, they used rejection as a learning experience to push harder and refine their approach. By accepting that rejection is a natural and even necessary part of growth, you can reduce the emotional toll it takes on you. It's also important to remember that self-worth comes from within, not from external validation. The moment you start depending on others to validate your value, you're giving them the power to control how you feel about yourself. Instead of seeking approval from others, focus on building your own internal validation. Recognize your strengths, your progress, and your unique qualities that make you who you are. When you know your worth and stop attaching it to other people's decisions, rejection loses its power to hurt you as much. Finally, don't be afraid to talk it out. Sometimes sharing your feelings with a trusted friend or mentor can provide much-needed perspective. They can help you see that the rejection wasn't about you and that you have plenty of other opportunities waiting for you. In fact, expressing your feelings can help you process the situation faster and move past it more effectively. Question for the viewers: have you ever taken a rejection personally and let it affect your confidence? How did you reframe your perspective, and what helped you realize that it wasn't a reflection of your value? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and how you've overcome those moments. 3. Avoiding new opportunities. After facing rejection, one of the most tempting yet harmful reactions is to avoid new opportunities altogether. It's easy to feel disheartened, discouraged, and afraid of being rejected again, so you might find yourself retreating into your comfort zone. You tell yourself that it's safer to stay where you are rather than putting yourself out there again. While this instinct is completely natural, it's also one of the biggest barriers to personal growth and success. When you avoid new opportunities after a rejection, you're allowing fear to dictate your actions. You might begin to believe that the world is against you, or that every attempt you make will end in failure. This creates a cycle of self-limiting behavior, where you start avoiding new challenges, new connections, and new experiences because you're afraid of what might happen. But in doing so, you deny yourself the chance to grow, learn, and ultimately succeed. The problem with this mindset is that rejection is not a sign to stop trying. It's a part of the process. No one achieves great things without facing setbacks and failures along the way. In fact, some of the most successful people in the world have encountered rejection many times before reaching their goals. The key to success is not avoiding rejection, but learning how to handle it and continuing to pursue your ambitions despite it. Think about it. If you never took any risks or put yourself out there again, you'd miss out on so many potential opportunities. That job you've been eyeing, that promotion you've been working toward, or that new relationship you've been waiting for. If you avoid putting yourself in situations where rejection is possible, you might never experience the growth that comes with those wins. Even more importantly, avoiding new opportunities limits your ability to discover what else is out there that could be an even better fit for you. Sometimes rejection is just life's way of redirecting you to something better. You might have been focusing on a specific goal, relationship, or career path, but rejection could be nudging you towards something more aligned with your true strengths and desires. Instead of avoiding new opportunities out of fear, embrace them as chances for growth. Remember, every time you take a step forward, even in the face of rejection, you build resilience and get one step closer to the right fit for you. To break this pattern of avoidance, it's important to shift your mindset and embrace rejection as part of the journey. Start by reframing rejection as feedback instead of failure. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How can I improve for next time? This proactive approach helps you see rejection as an opportunity to refine your skills, gain experience, and prepare yourself for future success. Another helpful strategy is to set small, achievable goals that push you to step outside your comfort zone. You don't have to jump into a big, high-stakes situation right away. Start by looking for smaller opportunities, whether it's applying for a job you're interested in, reaching out to someone for a new connection, or even just exploring a new hobby or passion. As you start to take these small risks, your confidence will build, and you'll begin to see that rejection doesn't have the power to hold you back. It's also helpful to surround yourself with supportive people who encourage you to keep going. Whether it's friends, family, or mentors, having a solid support system can help you overcome the fear of rejection and inspire you to take new risks. The more you step into new opportunities, the less power rejection will have over you. Over time, you'll realize that every rejection brings you closer to your goals, and that each experience is valuable, whether or not it results in success. 4. Seeking validation from others. After experiencing rejection, it's natural to crave reassurance and validation from others. Whether it's from friends, family, or colleagues, we often look for someone to tell us that we're still worthy, capable, or good enough. While seeking support in tough times is perfectly normal, constantly relying on others to validate your worth can be a dangerous trap that hinders your growth and self-confidence. The issue with seeking external validation is that it places your self-worth in the hands of others. You begin to depend on their opinions, praise, or approval to feel good about yourself. This can create a cycle where you only feel confident or worthy when someone else affirms you. The problem is, no one else's opinion should dictate how you feel about yourself. When you allow others' judgments to determine your self-esteem, you become vulnerable to being swayed by their approval or disapproval, which can lead to a constant feeling of uncertainty and insecurity. While it's completely natural to want to talk through rejection with someone close to you, relying too much on external validation can make it harder for you to move forward independently. You might find yourself waiting for someone else to tell you, "You're amazing, don't worry about it," or "It wasn't your fault." But that validation, while comforting, doesn't last long. Once you're no longer receiving those affirmations, you might slip back into self-doubt, making it a never-ending cycle. So what's the alternative? The key to overcoming this mistake is learning how to validate yourself. Self-validation is about recognizing your own worth and abilities without needing external confirmation. It's the practice of reassuring yourself that you are enough, regardless of whether or not others agree. Self-validation isn't about ignoring feedback or constructive criticism, but rather about developing a strong internal sense of self that doesn't depend on others' approval. To start practicing self-validation, it's important to recognize and celebrate your strengths and accomplishments. When you face rejection, take a moment to acknowledge your efforts. You took action, put yourself out there, and tried. That alone is something to be proud of. Reflect on what you've done well, and remind yourself that you are capable of succeeding in other opportunities. Self-compassion plays a big role here. Be kind to yourself and treat yourself the way you would treat a friend who is going through a tough time. Instead of harshly criticizing yourself after rejection, offer yourself words of encouragement and support. Another powerful way to validate yourself is through self-reflection. When you encounter rejection, rather than seeking immediate validation from others, take a step back and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What can I improve on for next time? This approach helps you focus on growth and self-improvement rather than constantly needing someone else to tell you that you're okay. It builds resilience and empowers you to trust your own judgment and decisions. It's also important to set healthy boundaries with those around you. While it's nice to have a support system, you don't need to rely on others to feel good about yourself. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, but also understand that your self-worth comes from within, not from their opinions. This way, you can rely on their support without becoming dependent on their validation. Over time, as you build your self-validation muscle, you'll find that rejection hurts less, and your self-esteem becomes more stable. You won't need others to reassure you constantly, because you'll already know that you are enough, no matter the outcome of any situation. You'll become your own biggest cheerleader, and that's a power no rejection can take away from you. Question for the viewers. Have you ever found yourself seeking validation from others after facing rejection? How did you learn to validate yourself, and what difference has it made in your confidence and resilience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights could help others take the first step towards self-validation. 5. Focusing. Too much on the why. When we face rejection, it's natural to want answers. We want to know exactly why we didn't get that job, why a relationship ended, or why an opportunity slipped through our fingers. Our minds often get fixated on trying to figure out what went wrong. We replay the events, dissecting every detail, wondering if there was something we could have said or done differently. While seeking answers can provide closure, focusing too much on the why can be incredibly limiting and counterproductive. It keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from moving forward. Overanalyzing the reasons behind rejection often leads to a spiral of self-doubt and frustration. You might think, if only I had said the right thing, or maybe if I was more confident, the outcome would have been different. While it's important to reflect on experiences to learn and grow, spending too much time dwelling on the why doesn't help you progress. In fact, it can lead to a distorted perspective of the situation, causing you to blow the rejection out of proportion or make assumptions that aren't even true. The reality is, not every rejection comes with a clear-cut reason, and sometimes the reasons are beyond our control. For example, in a job interview, the hiring manager may have chosen another candidate because of a better fit for the role, budget constraints, or even personal preferences unrelated to your qualifications. Similarly, in personal relationships, factors like timing, circumstances, or differing life goals might play a significant role, and none of these things are a reflection of your worth as a person. When we fixate too much on why things didn't work out, we lose sight of the bigger picture. Instead of focusing on what didn't happen, we should shift our energy to what can happen next. Rejection is not a permanent roadblock, it's simply a detour on the path to something better. If we continue obsessing over the past, we risk missing new opportunities that could be even more aligned with our goals, desires, and values. To break the cycle of overthinking the why, it's helpful to adopt a mindset of acceptance and curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" try asking, What can I learn from this situation? This subtle shift can change your entire approach to rejection. Instead of wallowing in frustration or disappointment, you begin to see rejection as a chance to improve, adapt, and refine your approach. It's not about figuring out what went wrong, but about identifying what you can do differently next time to increase your chances of success. Additionally, remind yourself that sometimes there just isn't a clear answer. Not everything is within our control, and some situations are simply unpredictable. Learning to accept the uncertainty is an essential part of moving forward. Life is full of unexpected twists, and trying to make sense of every rejection can be draining and ultimately unproductive. Instead, focus on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and how you choose to respond to setbacks. A powerful tool for letting go of the why is mindfulness. When you find yourself spiraling into overthinking, take a step back and center yourself in the present moment. Practice deep breathing, journaling, or engaging in activities that bring you peace. This helps quiet the mind and prevents you from becoming consumed by negative thoughts about the past. By focusing on the here and now, you make room for new insights, ideas, and opportunities to emerge. Remember, rejection is not the end, it's simply a redirection. Every experience, even rejection, adds to your story and prepares you for the next chapter. By focusing less on the why and more on the lessons learned and the next steps, you'll find that you grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for future opportunities. Question for the viewers. Have you ever gotten stuck in the cycle of trying to figure out why something didn't work out? How did you shift your focus away from the past and move forward? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences can help others learn how to stop obsessing over the why and embrace the future. 6. Rushing into new commitments. After facing rejection, it's not uncommon to want to distract yourself from the emotional pain by rushing into something new. Whether it's jumping into a new relationship, taking on a new project, or pursuing a different opportunity without giving yourself time to process the rejection, this quick decision-making can be a trap. While it might feel comforting in the moment to fill the void left by rejection, rushing into new commitments before you're truly ready can lead to poor decisions, burnout, or even repeating the same patterns that led to the previous rejection. One of the main reasons we rush into new commitments after rejection is to avoid facing the discomfort that comes with being vulnerable. The pain of rejection can be overwhelming, and it's easy to want to push those feelings aside by diving into something new. However, this reaction often leads to situations where we are emotionally unprepared. Instead of giving yourself the time to reflect, heal, and learn from the experience, you might find yourself seeking out new distractions that don't allow you to fully process the emotions or grow from the rejection. In relationships, rushing into something new without emotional recovery can result in starting a new connection based on the need for validation or a desire to fill the void left by the previous rejection. This isn't a healthy foundation for any relationship. If you haven't taken the time to heal and understand what went wrong in the past, you risk repeating the same mistakes. You might find yourself entering a relationship for the wrong reasons, which can lead to more hurt and disappointment down the line. Similarly, in professional settings, rushing into a new commitment after rejection, such as applying for the same type of job or diving into a project that's similar to the one that led to your rejection, can be a way of seeking validation through quick success. But this kind of reaction often doesn't allow you to evaluate whether you truly want the next opportunity or if you're just trying to bounce back from the previous disappointment. Without taking the time to reassess your goals, values, and motivations, you risk committing to something that doesn't align with your true aspirations, which can result in frustration and burnout. The key to overcoming this mistake is to give yourself the necessary space to heal and reflect. Instead of rushing to fill the gap that rejection has left, take the time to step back, breathe, and process your emotions. This doesn't mean you have to avoid new opportunities altogether, but it does mean taking the time to ensure you're entering something new because it aligns with your long-term goals, not just as a way to distract yourself or prove your worth to others. One of the best ways to avoid rushing into new commitments is by practicing self-reflection. After a rejection, ask yourself questions like, "What did I learn from this experience?" Or, "What do I want for myself moving forward?" Take some time to understand your needs, desires, and why you're feeling the urge to jump into something new. Journaling can be a helpful tool here, as it allows you to process your emotions and gain clarity on your true feelings and motivations. Setting small, intentional goals can also help you resist the temptation to rush into new commitments. Instead of committing to something big right away, start by focusing on one area of your life you'd like to improve or explore. This gives you the opportunity to regain your confidence and momentum gradually, without overwhelming yourself or making decisions based on impulse. Whether it's taking a class, exploring a new hobby, or focusing on personal growth, small actions can help you build a strong foundation for future commitments that feel right for you. Ultimately, giving yourself time to heal, reflect, and regain clarity after rejection helps you enter new situations with a more grounded, thoughtful approach. Instead of reacting out of hurt or fear, you'll be making decisions based on your true needs and aspirations, which will lead to more fulfilling outcomes in the long run. 7. Staying stuck in a negative mindset. One of the most dangerous mistakes we can make after rejection is staying stuck in a negative mindset. Rejection, whether it's in our career, relationships, or personal endeavors, can be a heavy blow to our self-esteem and confidence. It's easy to fall into the trap of negative thinking, telling ourselves things like, "I'll never succeed," "I'm not good enough," or "This always happens to me." These negative thoughts can spiral, making it even harder to move forward and recover from the setback. However, staying stuck in this mindset not only prolongs the pain, but also prevents growth, healing, and future success. When we stay in a negative mindset, we allow rejection to define us. We may begin to believe that rejection is a reflection of who we are, rather than just an event that occurred. It's important to remember that rejection is not an indicator of your worth or abilities. It's simply a part of life, a step in the process of growth and improvement. However, when we let negativity take over, we start to see it as the end of the road instead of a temporary setback. The danger of staying stuck in negativity is that it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you constantly think that you're not good enough, that opportunities are out of your reach, or that you're destined to fail, those beliefs can manifest in your actions. You might stop trying, stop taking risks, or even sabotage your own progress. The more you focus on negative thoughts, the more they influence your behavior and decision-making. Before you know it, you've closed yourself off from new opportunities, potential growth, and the chance to learn from your experiences. One powerful way to break free from this cycle is to consciously shift your focus to gratitude and positivity. Even after rejection, there are always things to be grateful for, whether it's the opportunity to learn, the support of loved ones, or the personal growth you've gained through the experience. Practicing gratitude helps you change your perspective and prevents you from getting stuck in a negative spiral. Try journaling about things you're thankful for each day, even in tough times. It will shift your attention from what you lack to what you already have. Another way to overcome a negative mindset is by reframing your thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I wasn't good enough." Reframe it to, "This wasn't the right fit for me, but I'm learning and improving every day." By focusing on progress and reframing rejection as a learning opportunity, you take away its power to hold you back. Instead of seeing it as a defeat, you can view it as a stepping stone toward greater achievements. Taking small positive actions every day is another effective way to break free from negativity. Set achievable goals that focus on your personal growth, whether it's working on a skill, learning something new, or building your confidence. Every small step forward helps to shift your mindset and builds momentum for success. Additionally, surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether it's supportive friends, motivational content, or mentors, can help uplift you and remind you that rejection doesn't define you. Finally, it's important to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness during tough times, and remember that everyone faces rejection at some point in their lives. It's not a sign that you're not enough. Instead, it's a signal that there's room for growth and that new opportunities will come your way. Be gentle with yourself, acknowledge your efforts, and keep moving forward. Progress is not always linear, but persistence and a positive mindset will eventually lead you to where you need to be. Question for the viewers: have you ever found yourself stuck in a negative mindset after a rejection? How did you manage to shift your thinking and regain your confidence? Share your tips and experiences in the comments. Your insights could help someone else break free from the negativity and keep moving toward their goals. Conclusion: rejection is an inevitable part of life, but how we respond to it can make all the difference. In this video, we've explored 7 common mistakes people make after facing rejection and how to avoid them. From dwelling too long on the rejection and seeking validation from others, to rushing into new commitments or staying stuck in a negative mindset, these reactions can hinder personal growth and delay the success you deserve. The key takeaway is that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but a part of the journey. It's a natural experience that can offer valuable lessons if we allow ourselves the time and space to reflect, learn, and grow. Instead of letting rejection define you, focus on building resilience, practicing self-compassion, and moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Embrace opportunities for growth, develop your own internal validation, and trust that the right opportunities will come when you're ready. Remember, success rarely comes without setbacks, and each rejection is simply a redirection towards something better. By letting go of these common mistakes and adopting a mindset of growth, you can turn rejection into a powerful motivator. Your next opportunity, breakthrough, or success might be just around the corner. Don't let a temporary setback stop you from pursuing it. We hope this video helped you rethink how you handle rejection and gave you some strategies to overcome the setbacks in your path. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Share your experiences, thoughts, or any strategies you've used to bounce back from rejection. Your story could inspire others to keep going and never give up.